Hey everyone, this is Heather Williams, and I'm here with Unleashed Empowerment. And today I'm going to talk about mental health. I think it's actually very important that this is discussed. I think it's something that everybody should talk about, male and female, because it's really where, like, it gets us to a certain place in life. If we have a bad mental state, we're going to be in a negative mood all the time, just a negative place, period. And like, that's not good. A lot of people that have gone through traumatic events and have not healed from them stay in a bad mental state. They can fake it till they make it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, deep down that they're good. They may be great in person and all over the place and on social media and everything else, but when it comes back to them being home alone, maybe, or just in their own little spot, that's when those deep dark thoughts come to play, and they're just not in a good spot. So for me, I like to say right now, like, my mental health's pretty good. I do have my days. Sometimes I can get in these, I call them funks, and I'm just like, I don't want anybody to touch me. I don't want to talk to anybody. Now obviously it's a little bit different with like Zach and Lottie. Like, I obviously love to be around them, but as a mother, sometimes I can be very overstimulated. And so sometimes even Lottie just being like, Mom, 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 Mom. I'm like, oh my God, stop. And I that's the other side of my mental health. I hate to be that way. It really sucks when I have those thoughts where I'm just like, oh my God, I just need my own daughter to stop talking to me. And so I think my mental health's pretty good right now. It's probably not at the best. And I think, that what I just said kind of shows it. But also, like, it's something I'm still working on. Um, Zach is a very open person. Earlier, we have for the people who are new here, we have a podcast. Zach is my husband, Lottie's my daughter. We have another podcast called Unchained. And what we do with that is kind of like a co-ed, male and female perspective on things. And we were talking about mental health as well. And, he was saying how open he is about everything. Like, he doesn't care about sharing if he cried over something. Like, people have seen him cry. Not that he's like some emotional guy, but like, he has feelings and he's not scared to show them. And I think that's very important. When we first got together, I think we both were in very tough times. Our mental health was not good for either. Or I was going through a divorce. God bless it, I was drinking so much, blackout drunk just to forget and, not really come to with what was happening. He was just, after his wreck and his divorce and finding out that the baby he thought was his wasn't, he got, to a really rock bottom place. And I think personally, like, in my opinion, and because I was friends with him during all this, we've been friends since like 2009. He actually stayed in that deep, dark place, but he was one of those people that showed it very well, like on social media and like out partying, like he was doing fine and doing good and whatever. But I know for a fact that when he was at home laying in bed, he was in a bad spot. So when we got together, a lot of that was all still going on. And I think that caused a lot of friction between us and a lot of bad arguments and insecurities that came out. And we had to sit down and be like, look, like, if we want to be together, we wanted to be together since 2009, just neither one of us were in the right headspace for that. If we wanted to be together, we had to work our mental issues out. We had to work our trauma out. We had to heal. We had to figure shit out to be together, and we had to do it together. So we could keep going. And I'm so glad we did, because I feel like we now have a really good marriage. We have people that will kind of hate on us because of our relationship, because they saw those bad fights back then and they heard everything. And, they'll be like, oh, they're fake as fuck and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, that was fucking 6 years ago or whenever. Well, like, get over it. Like, we're now in a really good spot. We worked our asses off to get where we're at today, mentally and physically and, financially and everything else. But we worked very hard on our mental health. We've been very open about it with each other. He's a lot better at it. He's he's never been a depressive person. Like he had his rock bottom moment and he got through it and whatever. But like he's just a happy-go-lucky person, and he also knows that like he's good in life right now, so his mental health is good, and he's healed from his things from the past and things like that. So like he's on a very good path. Now me, I think it's a lot. I don't want to say it's like a lot harder for women, but I think especially women who have been pregnant, and you have those hormonal changes, especially that with all that happens, it can put you in a really bad spot. I went through postpartum depression like no fucking other. It was god awful. Like I did not want to be alive sometimes. I didn't want to be around Zach. I didn't want to be around Lottie. I didn't want to be around myself. Like it was just very, very bad. And I was in a really bad place. And I had to learn myself, like how to overcome that. And, you know, I've always been a big, like mental health is important. But that's when I was like, okay, I got to practice what I fucking preach. And I got to figure out how to get out of this. At that time, you know, we definitely weren't rolling in the fucking dough by any means, you know, and therapy was just so expensive. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work. And I could sit there and talk to Zach about it all day. And, you know, he's like, okay, like, you know, he can say he got it, but he didn't because he's never experienced it and things like that. And so, like, it was really tough for me. And I had to figure out a way to get through that and get my mental health back on track, because it wasn't just me anymore. It was my husband and my baby girl. You know, I had to be there for her. And so it took me a lot to do a lot of research because, you know, like I said, we couldn't do a therapist at the time. I did a lot of research and figured out a lot of different ways, natural, healthy ways of getting back on track. You know, I gained a lot of weight with the pregnancy, and I was the biggest I'd ever been in my life. And, you know, I was very vain. And so that was very depressing for me. I know it sounds terrible, but it's the truth. And so, like, there was just a lot of things that I had to really figure out. So, like, I changed my diet. I changed certain habits. I started working out and drinking a lot more water, eating healthier, you know, certain foods that can cause certain chemical balances that are good for you to happen and things like that. And really started to work on myself. And that actually got me out of the postpartum depression. So it was great. Like I was starting to feel better. I was having more confidence, you know, like wasn't losing weight or anything. So that was still like on like my teeter totter of being like, well, this kind of sucks, but this is also good. I'm feeling better. And then, you know, I did that retreat, and that actually changed everything for me. It changed the way I looked at things and, you know, all of it. And so that actually, I think, was like that last step I needed to make my mental health really just soar and heal. A lot of people don't like to talk about mental health, and I don't know why. I really don't. I don't think it's something to be like scared about. I don't think it's something to be embarrassed about. Like if you're like a negative person and you don't want to fucking be, like ask someone to help you, you know, talk to someone about it. Go find like self-help books that are able to give you action steps in replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And, you know, and I know it's a lot easier said than done, but if you really want it to fucking happen, then you need to really fucking do the work. I'm very big on that. Like things don't just come to you. Like I'm sure there's people in the world where things do just fucking fall in their lap, but that's not everybody. And if you really want something, you got to work for it. So like the self-help books are just such a big thing. You know, affirmations are great. We talked about it earlier on Unchained, and it was kind of like, you know, it shows how like, you know, women and men think and how different we can be sometimes. And, you know, Zach's like, I'm not going to stay in the mirror naked and being like, you're the fucking man. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, might help you though. Like, you know, I know that like, I don't have to stand in the mirror and just be like, you are beautiful. You are great. You are wonderful. Like, it's not that. It's more of like, for me, I'm like, you're a wonderful mother. You're a great wife. You're killing it at work, you know, whatever that is, it may look for you, but like it helps a lot to like hype yourself up, to give yourself love. And that really can help with your mental health as well. Like it makes you feel good, and you let off those dopamines that you're like, oh shit, okay, like, you know, I can do this. And so like it's a big deal. It's a big thing. And I feel so bad for the men because a lot of men have been taught to not talk about their feelings and their emotions and this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, shit, like, why not? Like, you need to let that out because you're holding all that in, and that's changing the way that you look at life, the way you look at your partner, the way that you're acting towards your friends and family around you. You know, it changes everything. And we talked earlier about how the whole Will Smith thing was just so crazy. You know, he sat at the red table or whatever with his wife, and she explained how she was cheating on him and all this other shit. And he's sitting there crying because he's just so upset. And that became a meme. People were making fun of him. And like that broke my heart. I felt so bad for him. I'm like, I'd be fucking crying too if my husband was sitting across me being like, I fucked this other person that stayed in our house forever. Like, that would break my heart too. But it's different because I'm a woman. People would back me up and be like, you know, that sucks and fuck him and whatever. You know, you need to go get some help. You need to go bang this guy and do this and do that. But when it came to the men doing that, they're like, oh, what a fucking, you know, what a little bitch and this, that, and the other and call him pussy and all that. And like, it's like, come on now. Like, why? Why is it different? When Johnny Depp went through the whole Amber trial thing, you know, he was sitting there saying how she was beating the shit out of him, shitting in his bed, like wild stuff. And it was like, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, no one's going to fucking believe me. Like, she's this young chick and da-da-da, and no one's going to believe me. And everyone's going to be like, well, why didn't you just push her away from me? Like, you can overpower her or whatever. But like, that wasn't him. So it's very sad to hear that there's so many men that do fall into these situations, but won't talk about it because it's going to make them look small, you know, like they're weak or whatever. And I just don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. And I do only work with women, but I still talk to friends of ours that are men. And I've had a lot of Zach's guys that come to me too and be like, hey, like, I really need your perspective on this. And I'm all about that. Like, if you think you have an issue and you need someone to talk to, but you need a different perspective, like, fucking come to me. Mental health is such a big deal to me. I don't care who you are. I will talk to you. I want everyone in life to fucking excel. I want everyone to soar. And I know that your mental health is like that number one step. You've got to be in a good mindset to make yourself want to heal and learn and grow. And being in the right mindset is also being around the right people. You know, you may surround yourself with people who are broke and doing nothing but drinking and drugs and cheating on their partners and, you know, just belittling people, talking shit, just that whole bit. Like, if you surround yourself with people like that, you're going to become that. You're never going to get any better, and you're never going to mentally get any better. So, like, as I was saying earlier today, like, if you look at your life, you need to take a step back and you need to look and evaluate what's going on around you. People, places, things, all of it. And be like, okay, well, let me take one more step back. Let me look even more into this. Like, how did all of this come about? You know, find those reasons of why you're in certain situations. Pinpoint where all these things have happened and where they came from and work on fixing them. And I don't care if that is because you're having to get rid of your best friend for 15 years or if that's because you're telling your mom or dad, like, you're just a fucking terrible person for me and I can't handle this anymore. Like, bye. Like, do what you need to do. You have one life and it's very short and you need to be happy. You need to be living your life. So you need to be setting boundaries and getting rid of the toxic people that are in your life, the toxic things that are in your life, and surround yourself with better people. Surround yourself with the people you'd like to be. You know, you want to be successful and you want to have money and you want to be healthy and fit, and surround yourself with people like that because they already have that mindset. They're already there. Their mental health is great and they've worked their ass off for it. So now go surround yourself with those people so you can get on the same fucking track as them and just soar there. And then you can even be like, you know what? I need more than this. I want to be a millionaire and I want to own my own businesses and like I want to be a boss. Now add those people to your table and see how much you excel. Surrounding yourself with good people and positivity and light and happiness is a very good way of starting to change your mental state, to start changing that mental health and mentality of looking at life a lot better. Um, sometimes it can be tough. Like, you're gonna still have bad days. Like, I'm not this happy-go-lucky fucking person all the time, obviously. Like, I have my days. I still get in my funks and everything, and it's okay as long as I'm like, it's just a day or it's just a few hours. Like, you will get over this. You're fine. You're just in a little funk. Let it go. And that helps. Talking to myself, crazy as it sounds, but telling myself, like, you're going to be fucking fine. Get over it. So, like, it's okay to have those days. It's okay to sometimes just be like, like, oh my goodness, okay. It's going to be fine. This is going to pass. Everything's great. It's totally okay to do that. I always suggest when I'm talking to someone about mental health, I suggest the looking into your life and taking a step back and looking around. But I also tell people, like, think about your past. Think about things that you've gone through before. For me, my experiences started from when I was a young kid with my dad. And those issues and situations caused later years, on for me to have the issues that I did. And I just never realized that. I just thought that I was always in this like weird funk and state of mind, and thought something bad was going to happen, and I was never going to find the right person, and this, that, and the other, because of the situations I went through, teenage years, 20 in my 20s or whatever. And when it came down to it, and I really thought about it and like asked why, where did this come from? Like, what's the deep root of it? It traveled all the way back to my dad. And then I was like, well, I'll be damned, and I tell people that a lot. But like, you need to like figure out like from the past as well. Like, maybe there's some deep root issues back there that are causing you to act and feel a certain way now. And that is what's leading to all these negative things that are around you that are putting you in this bad mental state. And, sometimes just finding that root cause and then doing the research you need to figure out how to come away from it, how to come far, far away from it and learn from it and grow from it. That's the best thing you can do, because once you start doing that, you start healing. And that's what puts you in a better mindset that also leads you into that great mental health. It kind of sounds like a vicious cycle too, because you have to like relive your trauma, but sometimes it's actually really good to relive everything and talk about it and get it out, because once you get it out, you learn a little bit more, and it can really help. I like to think now, like, I'm not thankful for the things that happened to me, because they did cause a lot of bad mental states and a lot of bad times and things like that. But like, I'm glad that I went through everything and was able to learn from it and grow from it and get to where I'm at now. It's helped me a lot when, certain things happen that I can just like let roll off my back. I used to be a very angry person, and it's because it's all I knew. When I was younger, all I saw was my dad be a very angry person and yell and scream and this, that, and the other. And so like, it brought me to where if I was in a bad mood or mad about something, I was yelling and screaming and whatever. And once I learned to control that and I figured out why I was like that, I was able to fix it. And now, people can do some really shitty things, and I'm just like, well, that sucks. Like, there's nothing I can do. Can't change the past. I could be very mad. There's so many people out there that like owe us money, and they're just like, no, we're good. We're not giving it back to you. Like, thanks for the help though. And like, I could be so mad at that, but I'm like, nah, maybe they need that. And maybe that's helping them in some way. And it is what it is. If that's how they want to be, that's fine. We have people who steadily talk shit. They're always, our names are in their mouth constantly. And I'm like, how do you live? Like, your spouse has to be pissed listening about us all the time, right? And I used to be very like aggressive with it and like attack them back, like get back at them. And I'm like, man, now I'm like, that's all they want. They just want to rise out of us, you know? And now I'm like, if I just have to say something, you know, like I'll say something very professionally and respectfully, and then that's it. I bow out. Or I just fucking ignore it and that's it. And I'm glad that I've gotten to this point. It makes me actually very proud of myself, but it makes me very happy because I know that my mental state is getting better and better. My mental health is just starting to really blossom, and it's getting better each day. And that makes me happy too, because then I know that in times with Zach where I may get frustrated, you know, because he left his fucking shoes in the middle of the floor or whatever, you know, it may be that I'm like, let me just pick his shoes up and put them up. That's it. You know, it could be where Lottie is just like on one. She has her days, y'all, where she's like, she wakes up choosing violence, you know, and it's helped a lot because now I'm like a lot more calmer with her, and I can be like, hey, boo, like, why are you acting this way? Like, what's wrong? There's something wrong for you to be acting this way. And I know that because I've done it. So, like, it's just really nice to know that by working on my mental health all the time, that I'm getting better every day at every aspect of my life. And not saying I'm like better than anybody by any means, but like I'm just saying I'm doing better in my ways of life. And that just makes me happy, especially from everything I've gone through and, you know, watching, I guess, or looking back at times and seeing the things that I could have done differently and stuff. It's, you know, it sucks, but it's also like, it's fine because you learn from it and this is where you are now. Like, again, you know, my mental health is not 100%, but man, it's gotten so much better. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for Zach and, you know, him being very open and talking to me about everything. I've been reading a book about boundaries, and I'm so proud of myself because lately, like, if something is happening that I'm like, I've already said that I don't like this, or this doesn't need to be this way, you know, it's more helpful this way, and it's still happening, I can be like, hey, we've discussed this. This is how I feel about it. Can we change this? And he's gotten so good, and I'm so proud of him that instead of him being defensive and coming at me and being mad, he's like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't realize that I was doing that or whatever it is. And we discuss it, and then, like, that's it. And it's so fucking nice. So I'm just super proud of the both of us for the way we've been handling things and really keeping each other accountable for being in a good mental health state. You know, we have to be that way for each other. We have a family. We're husband and wife with a daughter, and we have businesses that we're growing and a legacy that we're going to pass down to her. And, you know, it's just nice to be with someone that wants to work on growing in life in every aspect. So, but I mean, that's really all I got today about mental health. Um, it is a very big deal, and I probably could ramble on for hours about it, but y'all don't want to hear me ramble on for hours. Y'all have already heard me ramble for like 20 minutes now. So, but yeah, you know, if anybody is going through anything and they're working on their mental health, but they don't know where to start, or they're just kind of stuck, they're in a funk, they're, you know, they need that support to keep going on. Like, I'm here for you guys. If you're a woman, you're more than welcome to come and join my Facebook group called Unleashed. You'll see in the background if you're on YouTube, that's what it looks like. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, and, you know, we can get on a call or a Zoom or whatever it is. If you're a dude, Zach has a really cool men's accountability group. It's called Uncaged. Sorry, I'm out of it. But it's called Uncaged, and like he's a little bit more on the aggressive side. But sometimes, you know, you just need that. So we're both here for everyone, and, you know, we really want to see everyone thrive. We want to see everyone excel. We want to see everyone fucking eat. We want everyone to do fucking better. So we are here for you guys. And again, if, you know, if you're just needing some help working on your mental health, I'm not a therapist, but I'm definitely someone that you can cry on my shoulder. I will lend you my ear. Like, we will talk and work through it and get you to a better state of mind. So I hope this helps somebody. You know, again, I ramble a lot. So hopefully, you know, you got through it and you did get something out of it. And I will just see you guys again next week. You guys have a good one.